Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where we read surprisingly interesting stories that usually don't end in a cliffhanger. If you are new to my channel, please feel free to subscribe to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive right in. And the first one is titled, I was fired, I started getting unemployment, now they are claiming I quit and that I should not be receiving anything, I have a recording of the manager firing me. Location is state of PA, which I guess is Pennsylvania. I worked at a company for a couple of years. Over that time, there were many instances of discrimination, racial jokes and being told I was not trusted because of my race. I had complained to my higher-ups and HR on a couple occasions, all were met with the person getting a metaphorical slap on the wrist. As I climbed into a manager position, my former peers started gossiping about me and saying I did not deserve the promotion. After I wrote up a few employees for cursing in front of a customer, those same employees accused me of stealing without any basis or proof. The regional supervisor called and told me over the phone he did not trust me and after all the trouble he would find a reason to fire me. After he hung up, I got upset and said to my supervisor that I did not like the hostile work environment I was in and gave her my keys and went to the back of the store to gather myself. When I came back, she had called HR and told them I had quit. I explained I had not quit, I was simply complaining about the work environment. They tried to make me sign resignation forms, but I refused. I worked the rest of the day. The next day, I got a call from the regional supervisor. However, I decided to record the conversation just in case, but in my nervousness, I forgot to let him know I was recording. In the conversation, I once again mentioned the discrimination, the retaliation and hostile environment, to which he answered, "I don't give a crap." I told him I had not resigned and he said, "I don't care, don't come back." I started getting unemployment and filed a complaint against the company. The company appealed my unemployment, saying I quit and I have to go to a hearing. I did not sign anything, so there's no proof. There's no cameras in the workplace, but I'm sure they will bring the managers who are lying as witnesses. I have an actual recording proving that they are lying, but I believe in the state of Pennsylvania I cannot use this recording, since I did not have his consent. Is this a lost cause? Is this recording any use to me? Any help is appreciated. Edit, I forgot to mention, in their appeal, they say that I never complained about anything to HR. This is a straight out lie. I actually have spoken and complained not only to HR, but my supervisors. This appeal letter came from their HR, meaning they either never actually made a report when I complained, or even their HR department is lying and got rid of my complaints. It makes things even more frustrating. The stress is almost unbearable, especially since I'm a full-time student too and cannot afford a lawyer, so I would go into this by myself. And guys, I'm curious, did you ever experience or witness any discrimination at your workplace? Or to be more precise, any racial discrimination at your workplace? Let us know in the comments. And a user in the comments said, at the hearing forget all that drama unless you are directly asked about it. The examiner likely won't care and it is not relevant. The sole issue here is that you did not intend to quit. If you had intended to quit, you would have left work for the day, but you didn't. The company has nothing with your signature on it saying you quit and they told you to not come back to work. The fact that they claim you never complained to them is also of no evidentiary value here. And the next one is an update to the unemployment story. I went to the court hearing by myself and I told my side of the story, leaving out any drama that is not related to the immediate problem. I highlighted the parts of the story that you guys mentioned in the comments that would help my case. Thanks for that. They brought in the regional manager and the supervisor who asked me to hand over my keys and tried to get me to sign the resignation papers. They lied through their teeth about me somehow breaking policy and that they always respected me. I respectfully disagreed and was able to hit each and every line with a counter that made it clear something was off. As the case progressed, the referees seemed to be getting more and more suspicious of what they were saying. Finally, the regional manager said that he had called me the day after I supposedly quit and that I begged for them to let me take back my resignation and politely told me that I could reapply to the position at any time. At this point, I internally lost my crap, but kept calm on the outside. I said to the referee, "Well, that is actually not what was said," and I proceeded to explain the rude nature of the call and how he had said,
"I don't care that you didn't quit, don't come back."
As I said that, he laughed obnoxiously and actually said out loud,
"And you're going to believe her?"
At this point, I went against most people's advice and said to the referee, "I actually have a recording of that conversation. If you will allow it, I have it with me and can play it. If not, I will happily delete it from my device." The blood drained from the manager's face. He was suddenly visibly shaken and started yelling,
No, I don't want that recording played. You know, when people are nervous, they say things differently and..."
The referee seemed startled and cut him off, stating, "And why not? You can identify your voice, can't you? And you would be able to tell if it was faked, correct? If you have nothing to hide, then there shouldn't be a problem. I don't see any harm in this." He turned to me without waiting for a reply and said, "Play it." The manager sat down as the glorious recording played loudly. Afterwards, there was an awkward silence. The manager tried for one last hurrah and said,
"I didn't curse in that recording."
To which I said, "I don't see how that is relevant to the facts, but you certainly did. If you want, I can play it again." The referee replied, "No need, we all heard it. I know what's on there." And that was the end of it. Today, I got my letter stating I was going to continue receiving unemployment and that I did not have to pay anything back. I also got a letter from the Labor Department stating that they are investigating whether I should take my former employer to judicial court for harassment and discrimination. Thanks to everyone for the help. And guys, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video. Thank you so much in advance, all the help is very much appreciated. And the next one is titled "Drugged at Work Today by a New Coworker." Bear with me as I'm still very much feeling effects from earlier. I've been working with my company full-time for 16 months. We just hired a new employee in the office, which we currently have around 13 people in. We are a very tight-knit group and are always joking around. The new coworker assumed I would enjoy eating a pot-laced brownie. It was lunchtime. He asked me to try half of his cookie, said it's
"Really sugary, so only eat half."
I ate it and started to bug out about 45 minutes in and confronted him because I was feeling really shaken and dazed. My wife had to come to pick me up as I kept getting more and more high, and I talked to all of my managers and informed them of this situation. I am really effed up right now and need some legal advice on what I'm supposed to do. I'm at around 4 hours after being drugged. This is in Florida. Edit, it has now been around 7 hours since I ate the cookie, still feeling the effects, although it has been a lot less intense. Feeling a little dizzy, been drinking a lot of water and trying to distract myself. The guy who drugged me was fired after my wife picked me up, and I plan on talking to them more in detail tomorrow about the whole situation when I'm not out of it anymore. Thank you for the replies and advice, and I will update you tomorrow. Update, I'm at work this morning, still feeling groggy and kind of out of it, cannot really explain it. I've decided not to get the police involved. He got fired, I won't ever see him again, and I can leave it at that. Also, if I left anything out, let me try my best to quickly answer some questions I have in my inbox. He did confess to giving me a laced cookie, did not say it was pot, could have been more, I don't know. I don't work at a shitty dead-end job, it is a full-time serious company. I don't like being in that state of mind, and if I knew if I had any type of drug in it, I certainly wouldn't have eaten it. I did not enjoy being drugged, and it is not a fun experience. Thanks for all the comments and advice, this will be my last update. And guys, I'm curious, what would your reaction have been if you were in that situation? To be honest, when I first read the title, I was thinking of worse drugs than that, but still, this is obviously not something you should do, and any type of drug, especially when it is given to you involuntarily, is bad. Let me know your opinions in the comments. And the next one is titled, "My creepy neighbor built his fence around 4 feet within his yard and comes to the other side to mow, rake, I don't know what, his small strip of land every time I use my pool. Is this legal?" Hi Reddit, I'm sorry if this post is a little convoluted, but stick with me and hopefully you will see my problem. It is just a little tough for me to explain. The former owners of my house had a dog, and the backyard, 1/4 acre, pretty suburbanly small, is fenced in on 3 sides by a chain link fence which they owned, and on 1 side by a chain link fence belonging to their neighbor. The neighbor's fence was there before they installed theirs, so they just sidled up theirs to his and the dog could not get out. This was the situation upon purchasing the home in May 2015. The old owners spoke highly of this neighbor in question. They were an above middle-aged couple, and the husband used to chat with said neighbor over the fence while doing yard work. The wife would share veggies from her garden and they would keep an eye on each other's properties. I've had a bit of a different experience. I doubt you want to read about all of the uncomfortable interactions I've had with him over the past 3 months, but suffice it to say that this 70-year-old widower thinks his new 26-year-old single neighbor would make a great romantic partner for him. He also somehow thinks that having a copy of every Playboy magazine put out since like 1970 is something that would impress her. I've never been so keen to get out of a basement in my life. Anyway, I quickly realized that I could not smile or be polite to this guy without him feeling as though I had invited him into my front yard, invited him to touch my arms, hair, hands, or to keep me engaged in a one-sided conversation for as long as he could. I was feeling very uncomfortable with his prolonged eye contact and constant hints that he was lonely, and so I began to give him the cold shoulder. He pressed it for a while, but I guess he realized what was going on, and that is when he removed the fence. As the fence started to come down, I was not really worried. I figured it was his tactic to provoke me or a little temper tantrum, and so I ignored it. I would only use the pool when he was not home or was simply inside during these times. The fence was previously only chain link, so it's not like I ever had any privacy anyway, but he was awfully noisy about removing the fence and I did not care to hear it, not just the tools, but the frequent, exaggerated It felt as though he was just begging me to either offer him help or ask him why he was removing the fence. I did not care to play that game, so I would ignore it, but it was annoying the same. So I stayed inside when he was working for these 4 days. To my surprise, however, the day after the fence came down, a new one went up 4 feet further into his property than the old one. The new one is wooden, about 5 feet tall and solid. I figured it was a gesture to me that he does not want to see me anymore or something. Whatever, I continued to ignore it. When I came home from work the next day, I saw that the man who had installed the fence had now also installed a waist-high gate in matching wood, which connects from his new fence to my fence, which begins on my property line, runs perpendicular to his fence and ends at the side of my house. So basically, his fence is an L shape, 100 yards by 4 feet, but the 4 feet head towards my house, not his. I don't know about you guys, but this story should be posted under r/fence law or something. Anyway, this looked strange to me. I realized that now my yard is once again fenced in on all 4 sides, but that now about a 100 square meter strip of his land is enclosed within it. Was he trying to offer me a gift of land and privacy in exchange for my resumed attentions? I was suspicious of the fact that the 4-foot bit was a gate, however, instead of more fence. He has basically built himself a gate into my yard, although it is technically his property. Yeah, well, I did not have to wander long, because the bullshit began almost immediately. Since this was constructed, 95% of the time I am in the backyard, mostly using the pool, but sometimes doing yard work or gardening. He's letting himself in through the gate and effing mowing his little strip of land, not setting a single toe onto my property. When he is not mowing, he's laying grass seeds, sanding his fence, raking leaves, what the F, I don't know. Taking a break to sip from his water bottle and just gazing into the distance behind me. He is on the strip for only like 20 minutes at a time, but I can count on at least 1 appearance for every time I put on a swimming suit. It has been 3 weeks of this now, and I am so over it. I should be able to feel comfortable in my own yard. I've been researching fence prices and stuff, but it seems like anything I can afford is see-through and not high enough for him to not be able to see over if he stands right next to it. I'm also not sure if I'm even allowed to put up a fence without some sort of permit. Was he? Is his fence and what he's doing even legal? If I can borrow some money from my boss and get a 6-foot solid fence, would that be a spite fence? Basically, I know I need to do something, but I don't know what or how and would like some advice and ideas. I scraped together nearly all of my savings for the deposit on this house in order to get a better interest rate on the mortgage, so I'm not very solvent at the moment. My boss has suggested that we build our own fence. He has a whole workshop full of tools at his home and a pickup truck. But even just the wood from Home Depot would be pricey if I want to make it solid. Personally, I would straight up patch one together using wood from pallets, they are free, but I'm 95% sure something that ugly would be a spite fence. My boss has offered to lend me the cash, but I don't know. That seems a bit awkward to me, but I will do it if I have to. I know other people, but none in a position to lend me cash. And a user in the comments said, you need to check your local bylaws immediately because your pool is now not completely secured. If he leaves his gate unlocked and a child drowns in your pool, you could be liable. It is possible that you have to put up a new fence immediately. And guys, I'm curious, what would you suggest the OP in the story to do in this situation? Let us know in the comments. Or basically, what would you do against this creepy neighbor? And the next one is an update to the fence story. On Monday, I went to City Hall to ask all of these questions as they are county specific and so no one here could really answer them. Not to say you all did not give me the best advice possible, you did, and I really do appreciate it. Well, after wandering the building for a while and ending up by several different secretaries, it turned out that I should have gone to the town clerk's office. My lunch break was nearly over, but I went there yesterday. The person working there, alone apparently, was not very kind to my ignorance and I believe she saw me as entitled, which I may very well be, I don't know. Basically, he did and is doing nothing illegal, I should have let him on and it is nearly time to close the pool anyway. Of course I can build my own fence. Of course it can be 6 feet high, of course I can decorate it however I would like, it's a free country. Also, she insisted on writing down my address from my license and told me I would better get the pool enclosed ASAP or I would be facing a
lot of unnecessary trouble.
So after work I swung by Walmart and grabbed a pallet. They are free to take from the parking lot. No, not by stealing, they are actually just free. I can only fit one on my car at once and it is a 20-minute drive in each direction, but on my way home from work, so I texted some friends who live by and I've got such a huge volunteer army by now to truck pallets for me that I am afraid we will be taking them faster than Walmart disposes of them. So after work today I'm hosting a pizza/pool party for anyone who shows up, hopefully with a pallet in tow. Of course people who don't are also welcome. Friends have texted friends and I'm looking at feeding 12 plus people tonight. They are also joking about how they will pee on his new fence/strip of grass, but I'm making it clear that these better stick to jokes. I don't need an inebriated, well-intentioned friend escalating things. My boss has the weekend free and says we can get started on making the world's most ghetto patchwork pellet fence. I hope the weather will be nice. Some redditors pointed out other cheap fencing solutions, but nah. If he is allowed to do this and I am allowed to build a spite fence, then spite fence it will be. So sorry I'm so classless, but I think this should be fun and I promise to post pics when it is completed. Thanks again to everyone who helped. And guys, I'm curious, would you also have just built a fence or would you have done something different from OP? Let us know in the comments. The next one is titled, Landlord is selling the house and wants us out. Hello everyone, about a week ago our landlord texted my fiancée telling her that he sold the house and needed us out in 30 days. My question is, can he legally do this? We signed a 3-year lease and it has not even been a year of us living here. Another thing is he wants us to let him start moving stuff into the garage. He sold the house to his daughter. On the lease it says that he needs to give us a written notice signed by both the tenants and landlord, which we have yet to receive. Is all this legal? And do I need to let him store stuff in our garage? We live in Illinois, I'm not sure if that makes a difference with the law. Edit, thanks for all the input guys, I will have a professional look over my lease just in case I missed something before talking to the landlord. Also, I will keep a copy in my car just in case anything happens. I will keep you guys informed. Update, I work for one of the neighboring town's police departments as a maintenance worker and had the chief look over the lease and answer some of my concerns. He also texted the local circuit attorney and I'm currently awaiting for a response. He said to definitely not pay the landlord any more rent until this is all sorted out, and if for whatever reason they do try to evict us legally, then it would be a minimum 6-month process. So far, it seems everything on my side is in the clear. I will keep you posted on what the attorney says. And a user in the comments said, I don't think your landlord knows what it means to lease a house to somebody. Unless the lease contains a provision for the house being sold, you can tell him you will be sticking with the lease. If the lease gives you control of the house, then you don't have to permit him to store things. You could open a negotiation for him to pay you for either leaving early or using the garage for storage. And the next one is an update to the landlord's story. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago I posted a question about the landlord selling the house and essentially trying to unlawfully kick us out. Anyway, we got together yesterday to see if we could find some type of middle ground, and as you can imagine, it did not go well. He first tried to tell us again that he wanted us out by September 1st, to which I told him no way, because my fiancé is expected to be due on August 21st. He then tried to get me to sign a paper stating that he would allow us to stay at the house until October 1st and we would not have to pay a month's rent, and then got furious when I told him that I would not sign that on the spot and needed to have someone look it over first. He then started to threaten us, saying that the lease states 2 adults and having a baby would breach it, and if we did not sign the paper that he would evict us. My question is, wouldn't it be illegal for him to say we breached the lease by having a baby? Discrimination? We have been great tenants, so we have never been late on rent, no complaints, keep up on the house and yard. If he does try and go through with the eviction, would it even hold up? As stated in my last thread, he never served us any type of written notice, just texted my fiancé, telling her he wanted us out by the end of the month. Should I go seek professional help just to have my end covered? Any input would be greatly appreciated, thank you in advance. And a user in the comments said, yes, it is a violation of the FHA to evict someone for having children, unless the complex is specifically designated as 55 plus or senior living. And now we will read the final update to the landlord's story. Thank you to everyone that offered great advice. I ended up hiring an attorney to deal with the whole situation. As it turns out, he did not sell the house like he kept telling us he did. Instead, he had promised it to someone else and was trying to get us out so he could provide them with a place to live. Luckily, I had documented every interaction and phone call we had, so I was able to prove that he was in fact trying to illegally evict us. After all was said and done, we got what we originally wanted, more time, plus he had to buy us out of our lease. In my last thread I said my fiancé was pregnant, and I'm happy to say we have a beautiful baby girl now. On top of that, we found a house we love and are closing on it November 16th. Again, thank you to everyone who gave me great advice. Because of you guys, I had the confidence to stand up for my rights, and I am on my way to becoming a first-time homeowner. And with that, we have reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's content, and if you did, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our amazing community. Furthermore, don't forget to go to r/ripestories on Reddit to post your own stories if you want me to read them out in a video. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I see you again tomorrow.